Time doesn't care about your intentions. It doesn't care about your excuses. It moves forward whether you are ready or not. Every single person gets the same 24 hours, but the gap between average and elite is how those hours are treated. The 1% don't have more time, they just never waste it. Most people think wasting time looks like laziness. It doesn't. Wasting time often looks productive. Endless scrolling disguised as research, conversations that go nowhere, meetings without outcomes, planning without execution, being busy without building anything that lasts. Time isn't stolen in dramatic ways. It leaks quietly, minute by minute, decision by decision. The 1% understand, something most people avoid. Every yes is a no to something else. Every distraction is a trade. Every delay has a cost. They don't ask, how do I feel today? They ask, what deserves my time today? Because feelings change. Standards don't. Average people live reactively. They wake up and let the world decide their priorities. Notifications control them. Opinions pull them. Comfort seduces them. The 1% do the opposite. They decide before the day starts what matters, and then they protect it aggressively. Not politely, aggressively. They treat time like an investment portfolio. Low-return activities get cut. High-return skills get funded. They know that watching someone else win doesn't move their life forward. They know entertainment is fine, but only after execution. First discipline, then reward, not the other way around. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you're always busy but nothing is changing, you're wasting time. Movement isn't progress. Noise isn't momentum. Effort doesn't equal impact. The 1% track outcomes, not effort. They measure results, not intentions. They also understand urgency without panic. They move fast, but they're not reckless. They act now because they respect the compounding effect of time. 1 focused hour a day beats 10 distracted ones. 1 hard conversation today saves years of regret later. 1 disciplined choice repeated daily builds an unrecognizable future. The 1% don't wait for motivation. They don't negotiate with resistance. They build systems that force progress even on bad days. When motivation disappears, and it always does, structure remains. That's the difference. They say no more than they say yes. No to meaningless drama. No to weak routines. No to people who drain energy without adding value. This isn't arrogance. It's clarity. You cannot build an extraordinary life with ordinary time habits. Look around. Most people are spending their best hours on things that won't matter in 5 years. The 1% think in decades. They ask, will this matter later? If the answer is no, they move on. Ruthlessly, calmly, without guilt. Being the 1% isn't about working nonstop. It's about working with intent. Rest is scheduled. Learning is scheduled. Building is scheduled. Wasting time is not. At the end of your life, no one will care how busy you were. They'll care about what you built, who you became, and how you used the limited time you were given. The clock is already moving. The only question is whether you'll let it control you or whether you'll become the 1% who never wastes it. Time is the only asset that moves in one direction and never negotiates. You can lose money and earn it back. You can rebuild strength, skills, and even reputation. But once a minute is gone, it's gone forever. There are no refunds, no extensions, no second versions of the same hour. You can't borrow time from tomorrow. You can't pause it when life gets hard, and you can't buy more of it no matter how successful you become. Every person, rich or poor, disciplined or distracted, lives under the same ticking clock. That's what makes time so brutally honest. It exposes priorities without saying a word. How you spend your time is how you spend your life, whether you're conscious of it or not. Time doesn't respond to intention or potential, only to action. It rewards those who respect it and quietly punishes those who assume there will always be more later. Later is a lie people tell themselves to feel comfortable today. When you truly understand that time cannot be reclaimed, your decisions change. You stop treating days casually. You stop wasting prime hours on low-value distractions. You stop postponing the work, the conversation, the discipline that your future depends on. Respecting time isn't about rushing, it's about refusing to live on autopilot. Because once you realize time is the one asset you will never get back, wasting it no longer feels harmless. It feels expensive. Most people don't fall short because they aren't smart enough, capable enough, or gifted enough. They fail quietly, slowly, through daily time leakage. Minutes slip away in habits that feel harmless but add up to years of lost progress. It's not one bad decision that ruins momentum. It's hundreds of small, unconscious ones repeated every day. Checking the phone one more time. Starting the day without a plan. Saying yes to things that don't move life forward. None of it feels dangerous in the moment, but the damage compounds. Time leakage hides inside routine. It disguises itself as comfort, as busyness, as just a break. Hours are spent reacting instead of building, consuming instead of creating, talking instead of executing. People stay busy all day yet end the week with nothing meaningful completed. Talent sits unused, not because opportunity is missing, but because focus is. The problem isn't ability, it's attention. The difference between those who win and those who stall is not intensity, it's control. The disciplined don't eliminate rest, I eliminate waste. They know that leaking 30 minutes here and an hour there doesn't just steal time, it steals belief. Over time, people stop trusting themselves because they keep breaking small promises. Daily time leakage doesn't just delay success, it slowly convinces people they're not capable, when in reality, they were just undisciplined with their hours. The top 1% don't wake up and hope the day goes well. They don't leave their most important outcomes to chance, mood, or motivation. They design their days with intention, knowing that structure creates freedom. Before distractions have a chance to hijack their attention, they decide what matters, what moves the needle, and what absolutely must get done. Their calendar isn't a list of obligations, it's a blueprint for progress. Drifting is easy, it feels natural. You react to messages, requests, and problems as they show up, and by nightfall you're exhausted with little to show for it. The 1% refuse that pattern. They plan when they'll work, when they'll think, when they'll learn, and even when they'll rest. Nothing critical is left to whenever I get time, because they understand that time never magically appears. It has to be claimed. Designing the day doesn't mean obsessing over every minute. It means protecting the few hours that actually matter. It means saying no in advance instead of feeling guilty later. When you design your day, you lead it. When you don't, you become a passenger in your own life, carried however distractions decide to take you. Discipline with time isn't restriction. It's the doorway to freedom. When you control your hours, you control your outcomes. Most people think freedom comes first and discipline comes later, but it's the opposite. The ability to choose where you go, what you do, and who you answer to is earned by consistently showing up when it's hard and doing what matters most. Every disciplined hour compounds into options you didn't have before. Leverage is built in quiet moments no one applauds. It's built when you invest time into skills instead of distractions, into systems instead of shortcuts, into ownership instead of dependence. Time discipline turns effort into assets. One skill mastered, one business built, one body strengthened. All of it starts with repeated intentional use of time. That leverage eventually allows you to do more with less effort while others are still trading hours for survival. Optionality is the real prize. It's the ability to walk away, to say no, to pivot without panic. People without time discipline are trapped by urgency, always reacting, always needing immediate results. Those who master their time move from desperation to choice. They don't chase every opportunity, they select them. Because when your time is disciplined, your life stops feeling forced and starts feeling deliberate. Urgency isn't panic, and it isn't chaos. Real urgency is calm, focused, and intentional. It comes from understanding that your future self is being shaped by what you do today. When you move with urgency, you're not stressed. You're decisive. You're saying that your goals matter enough to act on them now instead of endlessly postponing them for a better time. That rarely comes. Stress comes from avoidance. It comes from knowing what needs to be done and choosing to delay it. Urgency removes that weight. It clears mental clutter because decisions are made and action follows. When you respect your future self, you stop procrastinating on the work that will make life easier later. You handle the hard tasks early, not because you're anxious, but because you're responsible. Urgency is a form of self-trust. It's proof that you believe your time has value and that your future deserves effort today. Waiting feels comfortable in the moment, but it charges interest and regret. Acting with urgency is how you pay that debt early and give your future self room to breathe, grow, and choose from strength instead of pressure. Small decisions with time rarely feel important in the moment, but they decide everything in the long run. Choosing to start instead of scrolling, choosing to focus instead of multitask, choosing to leave early instead of staying in conversations that go nowhere. These choices seem insignificant on their own, but repeated daily, they quietly separate average lives from uncommon ones. The difference isn't dramatic sacrifice, it's ruthless consistency. Ruthless doesn't mean extreme, it means honest. It means recognizing what's costing you progress and cutting it without apology. The people who build uncommon lives don't rely on occasional bursts of discipline. They rely on standards. They don't debate with themselves every day. They've already decided what their time is worth. That decision removes friction and creates momentum. Compounding works whether you respect it or not. A few wasted hours each day accumulate into years of regret. A few protected hours accumulate into skills, confidence, leverage, and freedom. Uncommon lives aren't built by massive one-time efforts. They're built by small, ruthless time decisions made over and over again, long after motivation fades and excuses lose their power. At the end of the day, being part of the 1% isn't about working harder than everyone else. It's about respecting time more than everyone else. Talent can be wasted, opportunity can be missed, but time, once lost, is gone forever. The people who rise aren't special, they're deliberate. They don't drift, they decide. They don't leak time, they protect it. They don't wait for perfect conditions, they act with urgency because they understand what delay really costs. Every uncommon life is built from ordinary days used intentionally. Small choices made ruthlessly compound into freedom, leverage, and options most people only talk about. This isn't about pressure or burnout, it's about ownership. Ownership of your hours. Ownership of your attention, ownership of the future you're quietly building right now. You don't need more time. You need higher standards for how you use it. Start treating each day like it matters, because it does. Be intentional, be disciplined, be urgent, and over time, without noise or shortcuts, you become that 1% who never wastes time and never wonders where their life went.